Hey guys, it's Autumn Skylar here, and as you can tell from the title of the video, I am not doing great. Things could be better. I wish they would get better. Please God, let them get better. So, the title of this video is quite ominous. It's quite foreboding. My life is about to change forever. What does that mean? So, I have talked to you guys before about some of the challenges I face with my debilitating conditions, and I've gone in depth talking about them before. And one that I've kind of skirted over and briefly mentioned but never really quite gone in depth talking about is I have something called lower GI dysmotility, which is a fancy way of saying my lower intestines don't work. So I have an inability to go to the bathroom like a normal human being, which is great. I've had this issue since birth, and it's been getting worse and worse over the past few years. I have a bunch of medication that I take and a bunch of measures that I take. I have something called a bowel regimen, which means I have the medications that I take for my motility. I drink Miralax daily, and I also do an enema every single day. Kill me. But over the past 6 months, the regimen was not working, so I had a med change, and that worked for a little bit, but then it stopped working. So now I have had this rapid progression over the past month and a half of my dysmotility not motilitying. So, where does that leave us? Why is my life going to change forever? So I went into the hospital. I've been going in and out of the ER for extreme abdominal pain, and they've done all the testing in the world and come to the conclusion that it is a result of my dysmotility getting worse, and that there isn't some other condition that has presented that is exacerbating the dysmotility. It is simply that the original condition, my dysmotility, is getting worse. You would think I would be happy that I have not gotten any other conditions added on to the plethora that I already have. However, I am not the most happy bear in the forest. That is because I went into the hospital for an 8-day stay, and during that 8-day stay, they did every test they could think of and came to the same conclusion, again, that it's my dysmotility that has gotten worse. And what that means, I have to face a reality I have not wanted to face. And I've briefly mentioned it here and there. God, I don't even know if I've talked about it on this channel, but I was told 2 years ago-ish, maybe 2.5, by my gastroenterologist that with the progression of my dysmotility just at that time, that it was seeming as though one day I am going to have to face the reality of getting either a colostomy or an ileostomy bag, which basically they're the same thing, but at different parts of the colon or intestines. And I said no. At that time, I said no, not gonna face that reality. And then we started doing the daily enema, which has just been great. So I've been on that regimen for about 2 years. And basically, since it's not working, I have rapidly progressed, and now it's not even that I have to prepare myself for this, it's that I need to accept that this is going to happen. This is happening. There was a part of me that when he said about 2.5 years ago that I would need one day, I thought that one day would be far away. I mean, it was still hard to hear, especially when he phrased it to me that it would be when I am fed up doing the bowel regimen that I am doing, that it stops working, that I'm sick and tired of having to take all of these medications and have so many additions to my life just to function from a GI standpoint, that it would be my decision. And then it was hard. But now it feels less like a decision because there's no alternative left. It was my decision back then to not get it done and to keep trying. But my gastro here in New Jersey says that on his end, from his perspective, there's nothing left to try. I have an appointment tomorrow in the city at Weil Cornell, which is where my neurologist and my neurosurgeon are, with a different GI, because when I have to get this surgery, my GI here in New Jersey agrees that it should be done by the hospital that knows me, knows my weird history, has easy access to my professionals on a neurological basis for any potential worst case scenarios insofar as issues during the surgery, but also to have the best of the best working on me to give me the best chance of this surgery working well. So I go in tomorrow to talk to this new guy about my whole history and about everything we've tried, every test we've done, and my local GI said, maybe there's a shot that he has access to something I don't, but it's basically a long shot. So I wasn't being dramatic with the title when I said my life is going to change forever, because it is. And I know people live long and happy lives with ostomy bags. And I know I've already been through so much that I can get through this. It's just, and I tried explaining this to family and friends. This surgery is harder for me to accept than the brain and spinal surgeries. And that it's going to be harder on me than those. I've spoken about my history of anorexia since a very young age and the plethora of issues I have with my body ad nauseum. And just know that there's something being added that I really don't have a say in. It's hard. I thought that maybe there was a shot one day I wouldn't be disabled. I just have kept waiting and waiting and waiting to not be disabled. And shockingly, that day hasn't come. It's only been fairly recently, within the past couple of months, that I saw this neurologist out of Weil Cornell, recommended by my surgeon, that told me point blank my issues with losing my ability to walk and then working to regain it, that there isn't something wrong with me that can be fixed. I have permanent brain and spinal damage, and that this is likely just going to be an issue that I keep having to fight with. And so I've still been struggling with that knowledge, and now there's this whole other addition that it's just hard knowing that I'm going to continue to have to live my life differently than others, and in a multitude of ways. And it just is hard that it feels as though I am getting worse the older that I get. And that each part of me, while fighting hard to keep working, is failing. And I have had such big dreams and hopes of being an actor and a model, and while this doesn't take away, already I've been having to fight in the industry to make my place with utilizing mobility aids. And now there's this, which we're only just seeing people with mobility aids in the media and in advertisements, billboards, things like that. It's very recent. But I'll tell you, I haven't seen one person with an ostomy bag. And that doesn't mean I can't be a part of a movement for representation. That doesn't mean I can't be part of the beginning. But there is a part of me that just wonders when it's gonna get easy. I've just been having to fight so hard my whole life. And I know everybody has their own fights. But God, it's just feels like mine doesn't stop. And it's always something different. It's like I get used to one fight and I go all in and I start fighting and working, and then something else comes and it's hard to not lose hope. It's hard to not lose your identity and feel defined by all of the struggles that you're having to face. When there's a lot of struggles, and all this is happening. I just turned 24 not even 2 weeks ago. I just want a year where everything is easy. Just one year where it's not a fight to live. I'll get through it, because I have a lot of fight left in me, but it's hard. It's really goddamn hard. Because God, it is the hardest thing to not give up. When it feels like so many hurdles have been put in front of you, and you look and you see that there are so many people that are your age that are just gliding through, and you just wonder what you did wrong. I try not to be this down and dejected on this channel. I try and be hopeful and bright because that's what I want to put out into the world, but it's just getting really hard. Because all I want to do is be happy and be healthy and have the ability to work towards my dreams. But I have all these roadblocks. I'm not going to stop fighting. I'm not going to give up. But I sure as hell want to. I sure as hell want to. I don't know. I want to end this update on a positive note, but I just don't know if I have it in me. I mean, sure, maybe I'll go to this appointment tomorrow and they'll have something, but I think I'm ready to stop having my life revolve around whether or not I can use the bathroom. Because that takes up a lot of days, a lot of energy. There's a lot of hospital visits and a lot of doctor's appointments and a lot of medications that I would much rather not have. Maybe this surgery is the best thing for me. Maybe it will give me a new lease on life. Maybe I can eat foods again without fear of them hurting me. Maybe I can not have the constant worry about my intestines going through my head, but right now it just sucks. And I'm just living in that. And I'm trying to honor my feelings and not force myself to be toxically positive, because sometimes life sucks. And sometimes it is so, no pun intended, shitty. So shitty. So yeah, that's my update. That's what my life has looked like, and I will update when I know specifics and when I am certain about what the next step is. 100%. Now it's like 98% sure about what's coming. But who knows? Who knows? I'm losing it. Yeah. There's nothing more to say. There's nothing more to do. I just thought I had more time. I always knew that this is what my future would look like. I always knew when he told me 2.5 years ago, from that point, I knew what was coming. I thought, though, that I had more time. I guess I don't. So, yeah. I'll keep you guys updated, let you know how the appointment goes. Thank you for being here as my venting opportunity. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all the love that I always get, and I know I will still receive after this video. And yeah, we'll see what the future looks like for autumn. So far, it is driving me crazy. Well, anyway, you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll let you know what happens.